Tonight on News 5 Live, a deep dive into the Brads-Bolito dilemma. News 5 takes a closer look at the controversial contract, a growing rift over the boundary line for Benque Viejo and Socots. Tonight's Culture Tuesday segment heads west to see how residents of the centuries-old community square off against the municipal government. And a 4-year-old perishes in a road traffic accident on the Valley of Peace Road. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. Smart, your full-service communication provider.
It's time to ring in the new year with some awesome savings from Samsung. Start the new year right when you take advantage of the lowest prices on all Samsung phones, starting as low as $339, or tablets starting at only $399. The full Galaxy lineup includes the A03, A04e, A13, A23, A33, A53, S20FE, S22, S22 Plus, S22 Ultra, and the newly released Galaxy Z Flip 4 and Z Fold 4. Shop with a peace of mind knowing that your Galaxy device is backed by a 1-year warranty only when you shop. Save and secure your device at Samsung's authorized resellers countrywide, including Cellular World, Digi, and Odette's Home Center. So this year, ring in the new year with an awesome device from Samsung.
Saturday, February 4th at the People's Stadium in Orange Walk Town. It's Los Angeles Azules live in concert, performing all their hits. Los Angeles Azules live in concert. Sponsored by Pelican, the Belize Tourism Board, Travelers, Digi Wallet, United Distributed Limited, Cellular World, Samsung,
Orange Walk Town Council, eCash, Madisco,
Vince Liquors, and Office of the Prime Minister. Saturday, February 4th at the People's Stadium in Orange Walk Town. It's Los Angeles Azules live in concert.
Ahora más que nunca, él necesita junto a mí.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Tuesday, January 24th. I am Sabrina Daly. It is quite likely that the government of Belize is headed to court should the Brads-Bolito contract be cancelled by the Lotteries Committee in the days ahead. It is a story that we have been following closely since the beginning of the year, when we caught wind of a letter that had been written to the managing director of Brad's Gaming Group Limited. The initial correspondence from the chair of the Lotteries Committee raised a number of concerns that had to do with compliance. This is in respect of an exclusive agreement for Brad's to manage the government lotteries. But with a pair of letters written by attorneys for Brad's and Countach to the Minister of Finance, is the revocation of the contract imminent? Tonight, News 5 delves into the controversial agreement between the previous administration and Brad's, and what the People's United Party government is doing in an attempt to undo that agreement. Isani Cayetano reports.
The awarding of a lucrative contract to Brad's Gaming Company by the Borough Administration in mid-2020 roughly 5 months before the last general elections, was not without controversy. The exclusive agreement to be in charge of the nightly Bolido, as well as the Sunday lottery draw, collectively known as government lotteries, carries a 10-year lifespan which expires in 2030. The fate of that arrangement, just 2.5 years into its duration, hangs in the balance amid what appears to be the current administration's intent to have the contract revoked.
We all know that they've been after Brads from the time of the previous contract, which is or was with a different company. Before the elections, they had made no secret of the fact that that new contract that was given to the second incarnation of Brads in April or so of 2020 was very much in their sights in opposition. They had said publicly that when they get in, they would do something about the contract.
When the House of Representatives met in July 2020, several weeks after the contract had been signed, the matter was tabled but excluded from debate. In parliamentary language, this is referred to as a negative resolution.
What is most cowardly is the way this has been presented in the National Assembly. It was presented as a paper for negative resolution, meaning in effect that the Prime Minister has set this on in the House, that it has been tabled, and nobody can speak about it. We cannot debate it. In effect, he is giving not one middle finger, but two middle fingers to the people of this country, where he is refusing to have an open debate on a contract that has created a lot of controversy, a contract that this company has potential revenues of over $500 million over the life of the contract for 10 years.
The People's United Party criticism of the alleged cronyism that was involved in the awarding of the contract came at a time when public attention was focused primarily on the COVID-19 pandemic. Nonetheless, the opposition vowed that once it took office, the controversial contract would land squarely in its crosshairs.
So I want to in effect, inform the government that we will be taking legal action. We'll be looking at it we're going to have our legal advisors to take a look at this and see whether this was legal or not. But also I could assure you that once we get into government, we are going to go through this contract. So I am alerting Mr. Brads and his partners to be careful how much money they want to give to the UDP, because they are going to lose their money, because this is not going to be left the way it has been set or structured by the UDP government. We got a copy of the ownership of the company, the shares, and you see that Brads has 40% or 4,000 shares. And then there's a company by the name of Goodley that owns 6,000 shares. So in effect, Goodley owns 60% of the Belize Bolido.
At the time, former Prime Minister Dean Barrow was tight-lipped on the matter, and mum was the word from cabinet. 2.5 years later, the shoe is on the other foot, and he's back to private practice as an attorney representing Brad's Gaming Group Limited, an iteration of Brad's Gaming Company. He also represents Countach Technologies Limited. In his capacity as legal counsel, I inquired about Goodley's connection, if any, with Countach, another shareholder in Brad's.
I don't know of any connection between the two. I don't know anything really about Goodley, and that is the trap that the Prime Minister, in my view, fell into. Generally, what happened with the first 10-year license, who the players were in terms of the investment vehicle, Brad's Gaming Company, as it was then called, and Goodley. It seems to be clear that Goodley was some investor in the company. But decided that has nothing to do with the new license and the new company. And so when, as you see in the Countach letter, we had to say to the Prime Minister, how can you, in fact, in the media interview you gave, Mr. Prime Minister, talk about all that, according to you, the licensee, the company that had the first license, which ended on 31st March of 2020. How can you now suggest, or in fact declare, that the new licensee should be adjudged guilty of what you say are the sins of commission and omission committed by the previous licensee?
According to Prime Minister John Briceño, his administration is not being hasty. In fact, government's attorneys, he says, are being careful.
Unlike the previous government, we are being meticulous in what we do. We are not acting out of malice. We are not acting out of spite. We are just looking at the interests of the Belizean people. And we are seeing that there are areas where we believe that they have not complied. But again, we need to wait to see what our legal team is going to advise us.
In the letter from last week, earlier last week, that was a response, a rejoinder to the letter that was sent by the chairperson of the Lotteries Committee. In a sense, all the points, the respective points that were raised in the letter of December 23rd were batted down as either untrue in terms of perhaps some of the claims that were put forward as concerns or what have you. Where are we with that in terms of those particular line items that are of concern?
Well, we haven't had any response to our letter from CEO Garcia as chairperson of the Lotteries Committee. But you're absolutely right. We believe that when you read their letter and when you read our response, you'll have to conclude that 90% of the allegations they make, 90% of the breaches that they accuse Brads of, 90% is without merit. There are some minor instances in which indeed you can say that there was an omission on the part of Brads.
But is the revocation of the Brads contract, even with PM Briceño's prudence, simply a foregone conclusion? Interestingly, in a recent conversation with the Minister of Health and Wellness, he echoes a position taken by the Belize Business Bureau, a private sector organization that is seemingly pro-PUP.
If we ever take over the Bolido, do we put those funds to program NHI, or do we look at a syntax that will be able to go geared towards NHI?
Reporting for News 5, I am Isana Cayetano.
Coming up, Benca Viejo del Carmen proposed boundary expansion causes rift with neighboring village. Find out the details when we come back.
Hello friends, I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, a man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. Friends, what a wonderful word. A great man was once asked what the secret to his success was, and he replied, I had a friend. My wife and I have reared 4 children. We were blessed with a nurse, a preacher, a teacher, and a lawyer. As we sought to give guidance to them, I would often say, 2 of the greatest assets you will ever possess will be friends and a good credit rating. With these 2 things, one can endure life's greatest difficulties. This is so beautifully illustrated in the film, It's a Wonderful Life. Mr. Potter, the banker, had money but used it as a club. He took advantage of an accident to bring George Bailey to the point of despair and suicide. But it is prevented by the intervention of an angel. The most moving moment comes when his friends in town join together to relieve his financial emergency and express their gratitude for George Bailey. Mr. Potter, frustrated and hated, is left alone with his money. The moral of the story is nobody is ever poor when he has friends. Friends are forever, and that is why the Bible says that Jesus is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. He wants to be your friend today. Why not open the door and invite him in? Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Belize City, after a 3-year hiatus, O Capital Sports and Digi brings you the return of Friday Night Lights. Going down this Friday, January 27, inside the Belize Civic Center. This matchup features the boys from Culture Capital, making their way to come face your high-octane, high-flying, sharp-shooting Digi Belize City Defender. Come and witness Mr. Clutch David Daly, Mikeel Boogie Soul, and the return of the Talladega Tornado, Mr. Nigel Jones, represent for the city as they start their journey to the first BEBL Championship. Tip-off is at 9 p.m. But come before 8:45 and get a chance to win $200 in cash. Superstar Belizean artist Yal Stalia will be singing the national anthem. The official after party goes down at Shisha 8 Lounge. It's the start of the BEBL, formerly NEBL, starring your Belize City Defenders. Happening this Friday, January 27, inside the Belize Civic Center. Sponsored by Digi, Muy Uno, 123 Vegetable Oil, Honorable Anthony Marla, The Tavern, Body 2000, Premier Charters and Tours, and Mars Rental.
Beliceño merece tener una conexión de internet de calidad, rápida y confiable en su hogar. Para clases en línea y trabajo desde casa, es la nueva forma de vida. Diginet es el proveedor número 1 de servicio de fibra óptica, impulsando la transición digital de Belice. Y ahora nuestro servicio de Diginet es aún más accesible con nuestro nuevo plan de entrada. Por tiempo limitado, tú y tu familia pueden disfrutar de 20 megabits por segundo por solamente $49 mensuales. No más clases perdidas ni reuniones virtuales interrumpidas. Te está costando mucho tiempo y dinero. Diginet es mejor que cualquier opción de cable o servicio inalámbrico. Visita cualquier Digistore hoy y suscríbete para la conexión más rápida y confiable de Internet para el hogar en Belice. Ven a ver lo que te has estado perdiendo. El mismo servicio de fibra de alta calidad, rápido y confiable, ahora a un precio aún más bajo. Para más información, visita www.livedigi.com/Diginet. Digi, nuestra telecomunicación nacional.
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benque Viejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Hi, I am Maria Sobeidayam from the beautiful Pachacan Village, Corozal District. I am a proud teacher for the Corozal Community College and also proud and satisfied customer for Development Finance Corporation of Belize. My experience with DFC, it started in 1997 when I first went to ask for assistance for a student loan so I could complete my bachelor's degree in biology. And thankfully it was approved, and so as a result of that I was able to finish my studies. Being the institution that would provide what I needed, I then applied for a loan to do an extension at my house. So so that I could better accommodate myself and my 4 girls. I am so thankful to Mr. Che, who assisted me in getting a reduced interest rate of 7.5%, which when you look at it, it is a significant amount that I am able to save when it comes to my payment. I was able to get an additional amount so that I would build my upstairs, which is something that I had wanted to do long time ago. And so finally now I have my upstairs. I am able to accommodate my growing family, which is my daughter with her husband and my first grandson downstairs. And of course now I have much more space for myself and my other girls upstairs. And so as a family, I can say that DFC has improved my quality of life by giving me the opportunity to do the projects that I have wanted to do, and I can say that I am satisfied up to now.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Banca Viejo del Carmen is the southernmost town in Belize. Its history dates back to the ancient Mayas, to the British logwood cutters of the 16th century, and the chicle industry in the 19th century. Today, Banca Viejo is mostly inhabited by Spanish-speaking mestizos, whose heritage traces back to the Mayas from Petén, Guatemala, and mestizos, as well as Mayas from Yucatan, Mexico. The town's infrastructure has also developed over time to meet modern demands. It is estimated that the population of Banca Viejo del Carmen has grown by 40% over the last decade and a half. But with progress comes challenges. The Banca Viejo Town Council, headed by Mayor Jorge Rosales, is now pressed to expand its services beyond its current boundaries, as a number of Benque Viejo residents are venturing beyond the town's existing limits. But as Mayor Rosales attempts to expand the town's borders, he runs the risk of encroaching on land claimed by the residents of San Jose Socots village. San Jose Socots was founded in the 1860s and was mostly settled by refugees of the Casterwar of Yucatan. It is also the location of Xunantunich, the second tallest Maya temple and arguably the most important archaeological site in the country. These neighboring communities are now at odds over territory. In tonight's special edition of Culture Tuesday, News 5's Paul Lopez looks at the growing rift between the two communities.
Flanked by his deputy mayor and town councillor, this morning the mayor of Benque Viejo del Carmen Town, Jorge Rosales, officially announced that the municipality is undertaking an exercise to redefine its borders.
What happened here is that the Ministry of Rural Development and the local government came to us and said that we need to redefine our town boundaries for the services that we need to give to people. And Benque on its own was, half of Benque was not included in the boundaries. So here you could see what Benque has been. If you see here, half of Benque is out. That was before and still there. But right here, this piece right here was gained by a mayor in 1997-2000. So when this happened, this was an official, came to be an official part of Benque. Benque was just like from right there to here across, but this was in 1997. It was done and this was gained by Benque.
The portion of land which was claimed by the Benque Town Council in 1997 is also claimed by the residents of San Jose Socots village today. This is the first point of contention. Cheryl Kokom, chairlady of San Jose Socots, says the majority of her villagers have been living with the impression that all that land was within the boundaries of the village until recently.
Their proposal is got us really out of character, yes, because it is something that not even myself knew, and maybe some of the elder knew, but it comes way back from 1996. To be exact, there was a gazette sign, the September 20th, 1996, and our boundaries were altered without our village knowing about it, without the consensus of our villagers. I know when this happens, a referendum needs to be carried out, and there's a process that needs to properly be carried out, right? So September 20th, 1996, our boundaries were altered, and this is getting back to us.
And compounding the dispute between the village and town councils are the newly proposed boundary lines for Benque Viejo.
This is currently. This here, if you bring in the camera, this is the proposed. We are not taking nothing away from Socots. It's the same thing.
You're just including the rest that's not.
Yes, we are going back to the border and up the hills, but nothing from them. It's very easy and simple to understand. The council itself, we don't have nothing to do with it. I'm not pushing nothing to take nothing from nobody.
The challenge here is that the land on which the Mopan Technical High School sits is claimed by San Jose Socots villagers. This is land that falls within the newly proposed Benque boundaries. Chairlady Kokom says she grew up hearing stories of a former chairlady who fought to have the school built.
In regards to the proposal, the Benque Viejo is proposing to us, we give you back a piece of land and you give us back another piece of land, which is actually in front of the Nazarene High School and an area behind Mopan Technical High School, which actually belongs to us. And this comes way in 1948, where our, we can say our grandparents, we might call it also our ancestors. Originally, we have a map also from 1948. They used to tell us that our village ends at the entrance of Benke, Alde Creek side, and it includes Mopan Technical High School. And I do recall my parents stating that we had Miss Chan, a cheerleader, who fought for the high school, Mopan Technical, to be built. So we know that Mopan Technical was and is part of San Jose Socots.
And on Saturday, Cheerleader Kokom called a public meeting to inform residents that the village council has not yet taken a decision on the town council's proposal, following reports that the town council proposal was final. And today, Mayor Rosales confirmed that the final decision is in the hands of local government.
I really don't feel no way. It doesn't really hurt me. It doesn't hurt the council. It doesn't hurt the town, because we are not taking nothing from nobody. Simple and easy as that. Nobody has to go to no a strike or nothing, because there's nothing to do about going and fighting and like what they said in the meeting, that if there needs to be a war, there's no need of that. It's easy and simple to understand. These things right here was from 1997. If the minister says, I will take a piece from you for them to be happy, I don't care. It's the minister's decision. It's local government's decision. I won't go in somebody else's house and say, I will take this. No. There's ranchers and there's farmers from Benque that did road access. So that's why the town expansion has been done. For them, for Benque Viejo, to serve the farmers that are around. So Benque has direct contact to the farmers. The farmers have been asking for the need to have a road to get to their farms. So this is why the expansion is there. If the government chooses not to give us the expansion, I don't have a problem.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
According to Benque Viejo Mayor Jorge Rosales, similar demarcation exercises are being undertaken in municipalities across the country. He showed us proposed boundaries for San Pedro, San Ignacio, Santa Elena, Dangriga, Orange Walk, and Punta Gorda. Mayor Rosales says that, as a practice, boundaries are reviewed by municipal governments every 15 years. Notwithstanding other municipalities are engaging in the same process, Mayor Rosales is facing troubles within his own administration. Two of his councilors have decried the proposed boundary lines. But Mayor Rosales, who did not shy away from showing us copies of those statements from his own council members, says, not so fast. According to Rosales, those same councilors signed a resolution back in April 2022 to expand the boundary lines.
Whosoever is thinking that we are taking, here are some comments which are people from the same council commenting against the council, which I don't know why they are attacking the council, and we have a resolution signed by the very own councillors who are attacking the council. Two councillors are putting stuff in Facebook, which they are part of the council, but they are against the council. And they signed the resolution. So I don't know. Here is a resolution that we sent to local government, signed by all the councillors, Vania Garcia, Teresita Betancur Alvarado, Edgar Cocom, and Oscar Góngora, Evelyn Martinez, and myself. All of us have signed this resolution for the demarcation to be expanded and to be official.
This 1997?
No. This is a proposal.
Okay.
This is a resolution for the proposal, not for this.
When was the resolution signed?
This was on the 29th of April last year.
The National Health Insurance was initially introduced as a pilot project in 2001 on the south side of Belize City. Contracts were extended in 2006 to public sector primary care providers in southern Belize. Then in 2012, a nutritional health component was also introduced in the south. Now the Ministry of Health and Wellness has announced that the program will be rolled out to the Orange Walk district and its 45,000 residents. As a first step, the NHI executive met with healthcare providers in the district last week to familiarize them on how they can take part.
We're starting with a phasing approach of rolling out countrywide. So we're starting with Orange Walk, and we're very much excited about the Orange Walk rollout because it's a unique model that's being worked on for the residents of the district. And it has come very much strengthened with a private-public mixed modality, whereby we are able to provide improved and strengthened quality services to the residents. We have been able to take a little bit of all the lessons learned from the different modalities that we have in the south versus what we have in Corozal and versus what we have in the south side of Belize City. The rollout that we're having here includes private sector, and I really want to emphasize and highlight that we're not privatizing healthcare. We are involving private sector to be a part of the system, to be providers to care. And it really strengthens a system, a health system, when you invite private sector, because they're able to fit in where public sector lacks capacity or needs or has the absence of certain specialists or certain services. For example, when we talk about mammograms, these are basic primary care screening procedures purchased by NHI at a negotiated price with the provider, hence opening access for the woman to have these services. So it's not private, it's not privatization. The private sector are not placing their prices. We are negotiating prices.
After the break, Mahogany Street sees phase 2 of resurfacing project. We'll tell you about that. But first, here's the weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
You know the saying, desperate times call for desperate measures. What do you do when you get to a dead end? Sometimes life just doesn't go the way we planned it to go. And when you're in those seasons of life, what do you do? Where do you go? Who do you turn to? Join Sagebrush Church as we begin our series, Dead End Desperation, where we'll talk about following God in some of the hardest moments of our lives. Be sure to visit sagebrush.church or download the Sagebrush app for locations, service times, and more.
You could still come over or you could watch a movie or something.
Oh my God, I can't believe this happened.
Under the bed or in the closet, which one?
I got 3 boys. I need them to be better men than me. I mean, better men than we.
Please don't go wind up.
Who has stopped me? Hello? Who has stopped me? Which one I want to?
For We Family, Season 2 begins January 26 at 8 p.m. on Channel 5 and on News 5 Live's Facebook page. Brought to you by the National Commission for Families and Children in collaboration with the National Parenting Task Force and UNICEF.
What did you mean earlier about climate change, Mom?
Well, when I was your age, I remember beautiful coral reefs and healthy beaches. The summers weren't as hot as they are right now, and the rainy season meant that it only rained when it was supposed to.
And then what happened?
The weather just started to change, and storms got worse. Coral reefs started to die because the ocean was getting too warm, and crops started to die because there was not much rain. You know, we realized as adults that we were doing something that was causing this.
What were you all doing?
Same thing we're doing now. Not using clean, renewable energy, chopping down too many trees, and even polluting the air with gases such as the gases emitted from our cars when we drive around.
We need some help before it's too late, Mom. We can't let it get worse. What can I do? We can raise our voices.
With 35 million dreams, aspirations, and futures at risk in Cari Forum, we need your voice in our story against climate change. Acknowledge, commit, act. This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center under the Intra-ACP Global Climate Change Alliance Plus program and is funded by the European Union.
Get your body sculpted with gym equipment and accessories from Benny's. Quality and savings.
Do you have information about a crime or a fugitive in our community? You can submit a tip anonymously with your smartphone. Using this program in safeguarding our community also protects your identity, keeping you out of the court system, and could earn you a cash reward. Here is how it works. Download the free P3 Tips app from the Apple Store or Android Market. P3 is the provider of our secure anonymous tip collecting software. Open the app and create a PIN, but be sure to remember that number, then select your location. Next, select the type of crime. When submitting a tip, be as specific as possible. If you have a picture, video, or audio that will help officers, you can upload them from your phone. Information leading to an arrest can earn you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Once your tip is submitted, you'll be given a tip ID and password. Check back if your tip leads to an arrest. You'll be told how much you were rewarded and how to anonymously collect your cash.
The fiscal year 2023 is a little over 2 months away. But the Briceño administration is already working to diligently put together its annual financial plan for government's expenditures. While he concedes that the existing budget was initially based on austerity, Prime Minister John Briceño also admits that his administration has since expanded its fiscal allocations as monies became available. But what is the government of Belize doing ahead of April 1st? Here's what the Minister of Finance shared.
We have to work with what we have. At the beginning of this financial year, we made certain assumptions, and so we had to tighten the budget. But as the time went by, the revenues were increasing considerably, so we had extra money to do some of the things that we had to do, like with the hurricane, or and etc. So that's what we did this year. But in the coming year, I've been telling our ministers that we have to be very strategic in our decision making, and to ensure that we look at what are the priorities in this new coming year. That is why in the retreat to the cabinet and parliamentarians, we looked at what we're doing. We looked at Plan Belize. We looked at what we had that we promised, and then we tried to come up with some priorities for this year. And we hope that that can be reflected in the budget. We have been working, the Ministry of Finance, the Financial Secretary, Minister Koyi, and myself. We've been working constantly with the different ministries. I know some of them have not been responding as quickly as we expected them to, but I sent out a notice on Friday urging all ministers to speak with their CEOs and their technical people to ensure that they can send the necessary information that we have. When I was in opposition, I was not criticizing just growth, the increasing expenditure. I was criticizing that there was no real economic plan, and that the government was just spending money for spending. No, we have a plan.
Former Ports Commissioner retired Major Gilbert Suazo succeeds Lionel Arzu as Ombudsman, but he won't be sworn in until Parliament meets to vote on his appointment. But that does not mean that the former mayor of Dangriga hasn't hit the ground running. Despite his pending induction, Suazo has been preparing for the new post by meeting with the staff at the Ombudsman office here in Belize City.
On the Ombudsman, when you asked me, I forgot what the CEO and what the CABSEC was mentioned to me. The Ombudsman has to go to the National Assembly for the Assembly to vote on that appointment. We expect to have a meeting on the 3rd of February, so that's when he will officially come on board. But he has already started to work from the beginning of the month in getting himself organized and getting the office going.
The 2023 sugar crop commenced earlier this month after much back and forth between the Belize Sugarcane Farmers Association and ASR-BSI. Notwithstanding the start of the new season, a commission of inquiry is being requested by the People's United Party's Northern Caucus to determine what transpired that stalled the negotiations between both parties and to make recommendations to avoid a recurrence. Prime Minister John Briceño, who is part of the Northern Caucus, explains.
They are expressing, or we are expressing, because I'm a part of the Northern Caucus, and I voted in favor of the resolution to saying that these negotiations have gone on for too long, and that we are of concern not only for the cane farmers, but also for BSI, whom they made a substantial investment in Belize, or ASR, and also for Belize, because the sugar industry continues to be among the most important industries in the country. So we believe now, and Commission of Inquiry does not legislate. The Commission Inquiry, what it would do if we go down that road, is basically to bring in experts to look at the entire situation, and then based on what they find after their discussions with all the stakeholders, both the cane farmers, BSI and government and everybody, then they would come with a set of recommendations. And then it is for the parties, all three parties, farmers, BSI and government, to look at those recommendations and see where they can be implemented.
Mahogany Street is getting the second phase of resurfacing several months after the first phase was completed in April 2022. This phase complements the initial works that were completed near the newly constructed food stalls. Today, Deputy Mayor Alan Pollard, who holds the portfolio for infrastructure, explained that that portion of the street will be closed for about 2 weeks for the upgrade.
It's our part of the commitment with the collaboration between the Minister of Tourism and the Belize Tourism Board of turning this into a tourism corridor for food. So that is what we're doing here. Our commitment is to have the infrastructure up to par, which is an excellent addition to what we're seeing here with the booths. We just recently did St. Thomas. That lasted about 2 weeks. Same thing applies here. The hardest part for us is the curing process, right? Because the concrete has to cure before vehicles could get on it. What had us in a little delay was to get the infrastructure underneath upgraded, which was between Belize Water Services. No, they had to upgrade some piping, and of course making sure that these booths had the water systems in place.
I know that sometimes Belize Water Services needs to get beneath the surface for whatever repairs or new installations that they might need to conduct. Do you have like good coordination with them so that we don't have wastage, and as soon as you pave or cement a road, they come and they need to dig it up?
Yeah, well, we have excellent coordination with them. I actually serve on the board there, so that helps us with the communications a lot. Actually, before we go into any area, we have to submit our work to them to see that if they need to upgrade anything within the area. A lot of times they have already upgraded, so we just have to go in and do our thing. So I could ensure you that after we're done fix, nothing will get broke up, and then we have to do that process over again.
The Toledo Alcaldes Association swore in a new executive over the weekend at a ceremony in Blue Creek. During the handover ceremony, the former executive transferred authority and knowledge to the new executive. 73 out of 78 alcaldes and deputy alcaldes took over roles within the Maya governance system. Andres Cus of San Miguel Village is the new president of the Toledo Alcaldes Association Executive Council. And executive members are Raimundo Shaw of Santa Cruz Village, Diego O, Domingo Ba, Virgilio Garcia, Marcelino Pop, and Andres Ishim have been elected to serve as executive members. When we return, attorney Norman Rodriguez accuses police of mishandling client.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Environmentally degradable plastics, or EDP, are plastics that are affected by a combination of environmental conditions that cause the plastic to break down within an acceptable time frame. They are specifically designed to degrade into carbon dioxide, water, and other biomass substances. The level of breakdown can vary based on standard test methods appropriate to the plastic. Click on the link below to see what you can do to help end the nightmare of single-use plastics. I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
Thank you for calling me. This is during the inspection first. Once the inspection passes, we do the connection for you.
Our teams at BEL continue to serve you.
A 4-year-old resident of Valley of Peace lost his life in a traffic accident on Monday night. Javine Alvarez was reportedly traveling along with his father on the Valley of Peace Road when the red pickup truck they were in overturned. The minor received multiple injuries to the head and body and was rushed to the Western Regional Hospital, where he died after 8 p.m. while receiving treatment. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Reports are that the farmer of Valley of Peace is tonight in police custody as investigations continue into a fatal road traffic mishap overnight on the Valley of Peace Road. 4-year-old Javine Alvarez was traveling with his father inside a red Toyota pickup truck which overturned on the road, causing severe head and body injuries to the minor. It is said that someone brought the child to the Western Regional Hospital, but that individual hurriedly left. Alvarez succumbed to his injuries after 8 o'clock on Monday night. It's a difficult time for the family and friends.
It was in the afternoon session, so I haven't had the chance to have all his classmates yet, but this afternoon I will, and I know it's going to be a very difficult time to explain to them why he is missing, right? So it's something that has hit us very hard as a preschool family, because with children we get attached to them very quickly. And yesterday he was really happy at preschool. He was a very joyous little boy, always with always a smile on his face.
Javine was a preschool student at the St. Oscar Romero RC School in the village. Head teacher Janet Duenas tells News 5 about today's interaction with his nephew who attends the morning session at the preschool.
He's in the morning session, so I got to see him this morning. As he reached, he told me, "Miss, Javin is not coming to school again." And that hurt. That hurt too. But then he said he went to heaven. I tell him, yes, sweetie, he did. And it gave us comfort, and I tried to comfort him as well. So we're praying for him. We're praying for the whole family, that God gives them the strength to overcome this tragedy. When a child is missing, they will always tell me, "Miss, such person didn't come today." So I have to tell them, yes, maybe they are sick. Yeah, so it's going to be hard because maybe every day they will be remembering him, yes, and questioning what happened to him. And then I will have to be the one explaining to them what happened. So it's very, very difficult.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
43-year-old Elvis Polanco, a businessman from San Pedro, was shot and killed in November of 2022 by a pair of men, including a former police officer, as well as a police constable who was on interdiction from the department. The motive of the deadly attack on Polanco is believed to have been robbery, as he was relieved of $11,000 during the incident. Earlier today, Police Constable Winfield Mortis and 25-year-old Edward Moraga were arraigned in Magistrate Court Number 6, where they were jointly charged with 1 count of murder and 1 count of robbery. They were remanded to custody at the Belize Central Prison until March 10, 2023. A Colombian student on vacation in Belize found himself in trouble with the law after he was charged with failure to produce himself to an immigration officer upon entering the country. But the charge was dismissed, and the student, 32-year-old Ivan Gonzalez, remains in custody until he can leave Belize on his own. Gonzalez was charged on grounds that when he entered Belize on January 18th, he failed to present himself to an immigration officer. 2 days later, he was picked up by police near the Philip Gosen International Airport while trying to leave Belize on a flight. At his arraignment before Magistrate Manon Dennison, Gonzalez explained that he did present himself at the port of entry, but that at the time, there was no one present, so he left. The magistrate believed him, dismissed the charge, and set him free under Section 24B of the Summary Jurisdiction Act. Gonzalez, who is a student in the U.S., will remain in custody until he can leave the country. The U.S. Embassy has been informed of his situation, and arrangements are being made to assist him with his departure. Attorney Norman Rodriguez is tonight speaking out against the Belize Police Department for allegedly infringing on the rights of his client. According to Rodriguez, his client Luis Martinez has been in police custody for the past 96 hours. Furthermore, Rodriguez claims that Martinez was abruptly transferred from the Raccoon Street Police Station after officers at the location became aware that he was on his way to consult with his client. We caught up with Rodriguez on Raccoon Street late this evening, where he told us more.
His name is Luis Eduardo Martinez. He's 22 years old. He's a Belizean by naturalization. And my instructions are, well, supported by the acknowledgement forms, the rights in custody forms, that he was detained first on Friday, and he was released, I think like 7:30, which would have been a few minutes before his 48 expired. They say release, but the court will have to determine what is released, because he was allowed to walk up the street and there was a police mobile waiting for him, and he was taken back into the police station at Precinct 3, that is Queen Street. Then he was brought over here to Raccoon Street, Precinct 2, where he has continuously been detained from that time up to now. Now, I have no issue with the police detaining someone for 48 hours. I always explain to my client that the police has a right to do that. They're within the law. But I called here about over an hour ago, going to 2 hours, and I was informed that he was here. I was informed that he wanted to be interviewed by immigration, but I don't know why. I informed the officer in charge that I would be coming down here immediately. I took a little time, and when I came, it showed in their diary that he was released. But upon queries by one of the officers who came to assist me in the cell block, he found out that he was taken by Detective Constable, I think it's J. Gutierrez. This is the same person who detained him on Friday, and from whose custody he was released on Sunday. But the person who has him detained presently is a PC Aranda. So I don't understand what Mr. Gutierrez, Detective Constable Gutierrez, is doing. However, I have no concern about that. By their own rules which they operate, the man is allowed to call somebody if he's going to be moved from any point where he's detained. Even more so, the fact that they know that he has an attorney representing him, they should have allowed him to call me if they were going to move him. But I think they spirited him away, knowing that I was coming down to take his instructions and advise him.
As we reported on Monday, police discovered what appeared to be the skeletal remains of a man in a shallow grave behind the Customs Department in Belize City. Along with the bones were a green camouflage shirt and a pair of black jeans pants. The remains have been sent off to the National Forensic Science Services morgue for a full examination. This includes a medical legal post-mortem examination to determine the cause and manner of death. And some months later, after DNA analysis is completed, an identity can be made. While clothing is oftentimes used to identify human remains that have already decomposed, in this case, it is uncertain if the clothing found with the remains belonged to any of 3 men who went missing around the same time a few weeks ago, all under different circumstances. We checked in with the family of 27-year-old Akeem Augustin, who went missing on Christmas Day 2022. But he was last seen wearing a red shirt. An elderly relative of 29-year-old Christopher Sosa, who we spoke with, meanwhile, could not say specifically whether the clothing belonged to him because he lived in a different home setting. Sosa was last seen on January 5th. Similarly, 23-year-old Kyle Latchman was last seen on Boxing Day 2022. But his grandmother, who we spoke with, can't say if the clothing is his because he also lived in a different home setting and went missing the last day after she had saw him on Christmas Day. Barbara Latchman told us today that Kyle was supposed to return to the U.S. where he was born, but he disappeared before that time came.
His father lived here. His father is a Belizean. He and my daughter, his mother, are American.
Okay.
And he came to visit his father, you know, and that's why he was here. He wanted to see his father, and he came here and he been here. You know, his mother was just getting ready to come and get him, take him back.
To the U.S.?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so the last time you saw him was when?
Christmas Day,
okay.
About around 6, Christmas evening. He stopped in, so we were joking, you know, hugging and joking and things like that. And that's the last time I saw him. If he went away, which we doubt, and if he's in the Belize City or Belize District, wherever, he would have already got in touch with his mother or his sisters.
On Monday, we brought you the story of 76-year-old Joy Quayle, the Belizean-American retiree who unfortunately fell to her death at Serenity Shores Resort on northern Ambergris Key last Friday. Quayle was using a hoist designed to lift goods to travel from the 4th floor to the ground floor of the resort. But the cable for the lift apparently snapped and Quayle was fatally injured. Today, we can confirm that the resort did not get approval from the relevant authorities to install the lift. An investigation is pending on whether criminal negligence was involved in that matter. On Monday, News 5 contacted an elevator service specialist who indicated that the lift was not an elevator, but a goods winch because elevators are designed to break the fall when their cables snap or when they otherwise malfunction. Additionally, elevators are installed indoors instead of outdoors to protect their mechanics from the elements. In the case of the lift at Serenity Shores, it was installed on the outside of the building. Up next, building fire management capacity for the Maya Forest corridor.
The Social Security Board, in collaboration with the Labor Department, takes this opportunity to remind insured persons of the requirements for compensation when on sick leave. Any employee who has worked with an employer for at least 2 months is entitled to 16 working days of sick leave with full pay every year. This is how it works. Upon approval of a sickness or injury benefit claim by SSD, 80% of the employee's weekly insurable earnings is paid as a Social Security benefit, and the difference in the employee's salary is paid by the employer. This is to ensure that the employee does not suffer any loss of wages when ill. After 16 days, compensation for sick leave is paid as a Social Security benefit only. Some conditions apply. This message is brought to you by the Social Security Board and the Labor Department. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
¿Sabías que Hospital Galenia modificó los protocolos de seguridad y prevención de salud ante la pandemia de COVID-19 para evitar contagios?
Creamos un concepto que denominamos quirófano santuario no COVID.
Hospital Galenia, más que un hospital.
Messi, off goal, what a goal from Leo Messi, what an incredible strike from Leo Messi. Neymar and Messi is standing over this. Messi, off goal, what a goal from Leo
Great entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Every year, Belize loses thousands of acres of forest to wildfires, threatening human livelihoods and property. They destroy forests and endanger wildlife. And so, wildfire management training for the Maya Forest Corridor, which encompasses the Belize Zoo, the Monkey Bay Wildlife Sanctuary, as well as surrounding villages, has been taking place over the past week. The goal is to build the capacity of fire management in this area.
It's been 3 years in the making, but a group of NGOs has embarked on a fire management capacity building program in the Maya Forest Corridor, which encompasses several villages, private lands, and various landscapes that are prone to wildfires.
During the pandemic, we noted an uptick in the number of fires, and by extension, not only the threats that they have to wildlife and ecosystems, but to public health, so respiration, immune systems, your heart health basically. and as well as life, properties, assets, everything. Different levels of training. We've had several basic trainings with community members, community health workers, chairpersons, anyone that has an interest in fire and an interest and a commitment to defending their communities from wildfires.
With financial support from the U.S. Embassy for training, as well as the acquisition of firefighting tools, a fire working group has been created for the area. Conservation Program Manager at the Belize Zoo, Jamal Andrew-Bone, says that they were inspired by Tide and the Southern Fire Working Group.
They know it like the back of their hand. And what spoke to us most as well was during the pandemic, again, who came to save Belmopan? The Southern Fire Working Group, because of the absence of capacity in this area. And so we have been working towards not only training up the NGOs, but the communities that have to deal with fire as a reality every single dry season. We also recognize that a lot of people in agriculture use fire as a tool for their agricultural practices. So it's a matter of getting, again, the right information to burn safely, effectively, without risk to your neighbors and your assets, to basically improve smoke management and reduce fire risk.
Today's advanced training involved staff from the NGOs that usually provides boots on the ground when dealing with fires on their properties and communities. Recently, a teenager down south received burns to 75% of his body while burning garbage. This scenario, as well as other control techniques, is among the information being shared with the participants.
You need to understand fire behavior and the factors that influence how that fire behaves. And that's your wind, your weather parameters, that includes wind, temperature, and relative humidity, and the fuel, so the stuff that will burn and what condition those are in. So those are the things you need to know. How those will influence that fire behavior, because the fire behavior will then tell you if you'll be able to control that and manage it. In terms of the safety zones and all of those things, is to ensure that the guys will be implementing and dealing with fire has a safe spot that they can get back to in case things go wrong. As firefighters, your first job, or your first priority is the safety of life and property. Not just your life, but the life of everything around that area that you're doing fires or working with fires.
Participants are learning about approved plans for prescribed burning as a strategy for preventative wildfire and proper fire management.
Learning how to be a leader in firefighting and know what to look for, realizing the hazards and stuff like that when it comes to safety, and saving the lives and property of our own.
We're building capacities and learning how to use fire to protect us against fire, right? So then that's why we're here, and this is actually like a second level training for us, because we've done a basic fire management course, and then this is a secondary course which will help us become more into it and help come up with the plans of how we're gonna be managing these fires, right?
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
It's been almost 6 weeks since the Belize Zoo reopened for visitors after the property received damages from Hurricane Lisa. There were fallen trees and structural damages, but following weeks of cleanup and restoration, the zoo reopened on December 17th. Earlier today, News 5 caught up with Conservation Program Manager Jamal Andrew-Bone and got an update.
Well, it's a lot sunnier than it was before Lisa, Dwayne. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of our canopy cover. The animals seem to be enjoying the sunbathing, but as we move into the dry season again and it becomes not as cool and mild, the sun will become an issue. But overall, morale is high. We're really grateful to be reopened. We do have in our minds that our fire commitments are coming up now too, but the general running of the zoo is back on track. The animals are all out. Visitors are coming through the gates and seem to be very happy that they're able to, just based on the feedback they've been giving us. So we're looking at 2023 as with an optimistic mindset.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.